Welcome to the Health Revolution, the show that leads you to a life of vibrant well-being. In a world full of noisy health trends, we bring you clarity through a sea of fads. We reveal the science behind the strategies that truly work. We explore physical strength, emotional resilience, and mental mastery, the keys to an enriched life. See inspiring interviews with the champions who've conquered life's challenges. Are you ready to unlock your potential to live with vitality and purpose? Then join the Health Revolution. I'm your host, Adriana Morrison, health and fitness expert, speaker, and a mom who understands. Let's embark on this transformative quest together. If you want to change the game, it all starts now. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Health Revolution, and we're excited that you're joining us today. I'm your host, Adriana Morrison. No matter which way you are tuning into us, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. We want to stay connected to you. Also, at the bottom of your screen, there is a tab for show episode notes. Be mindful of that. There are some important information about today's episode. And we want to welcome all new and returning viewers to our show. We are delighted that you are here. Our show is all about having those important conversations about elevating the physical strength of the human body, that emotional resilience, and mental mastery. That way we can optimize our life. Today, we get to have the type of conversation where it's manifestation without the hype. How to get unstuck and seriously claim your life. Now, we oftentimes hear about manifesting your life, manifesting, your greatness. Do we truly understand what it means to manifest our life? And what are some legitimate tools that we can tap into so we can do those things that we really want to do to improve in every way possible? Our guest today is someone who is level expert when it comes to manifestation. I'm excited about our conversation today, and I'm excited for you to get to know him. First, take a look at this. Meet Drive Patel, a manifestation coach with a grounded, no-fluff approach to creating real transformation. After years of battling burnout, self-doubt, and unfulfilled potential, Drive discovered the missing piece wasn't more hustle, it was healing. Today, he guides ambitious individuals to clear their inner blockages, rewire limiting beliefs, and align energetically with the lives they truly desire. From mindset mastery to energy work, Drive's method bridges spiritual principles with practical strategies that work in the real world.
It is so important that we clean our vessel for us to become master manifestors.
Today, he shares why most people stay stuck and how we can raise our frequency so that we can finally manifest what's already meant for us. Drive Patel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure being here. I'm so excited to get stuck in. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share all of my wisdom and knowledge. Thank you.
I'm excited about our conversation. I want to start right off the bat. A lot of people are skeptical about manifestation, what a manifestation coach is. Can you break it down, what that means, and how you show up into that space?
Absolutely. So through many years of guidance and studying through my own personal spiritual gurus, and that those gurus were there after a lot of pain and suffering that I went through, especially as a child and going through into adulthood. And I wondered why not just I, but people all around the world constantly in search of something outside of us when they tend to be very limited and they evaporate all of these things that we want and we seek these scraps of fulfillment. So I wanted answers and I needed answers. I saw all the hype, all the influencers out there talking about manifestation, and I was doing the techniques and I was doing the affirmations and the gratitude journaling, and it just wasn't working for me. So I had to seek these answers from these gurus. I traveled all around the world, from the Far East to Asia to Africa. And then I brought all of that ancient wisdom, coupled that with modern science. And then I realized it really is an art to this manifestation. It isn't just woo woo or pseudoscience. There is a real art. And what I learned from these ancient techniques is that first, instead of looking outside of what we need or what we want to manifest, is doing the inner work. Once we do the inner work, and I call this cleaning our vessel, once we cleanse ourselves and operate from a clean glass, then that's when we add the techniques, the gratitude journaling, the affirmations, the visualizations. When we come from that point and that point only, do we then start to manifest. So I guide people, and my teachings is more about accountability. It's about responsibility. And once we start to become accountable for all our actions, that is the first step, which is awareness. And through that accountability, we clean our soul, which is another term for vessel. And then we start adding the ingredients to become master manifestors.
So when was the first time you came across the term, the approach manifestation, manifesting the greatness in your life and all of that? When was the first time that you were exposed to that?
Sure. So it was a teaching by a guru called Swami Hiraman, and he talked about manifestation about in a different kind of light as we know in the West today. He talked about manifestation in terms of we are always manifesting our life, and our world that we live in today is a result of karmic energy. It's a result of what we call karma. So that was my first kind of glimpse of what we reap is what we sow, and the law of cause and effect, essentially. And so then I went a bit deeper into these teachings, and then a few years later, there was the book which became extremely popular, The Secret. And I looked at The Secret, and The Secret was fantastic, but again, it highlighted the ingredients to add. But all of my gurus were teaching me the manifestation is all about the karmic energy. So we must cleanse our karmic energy first, and then we can add the tools like the book The Secret teaches. So it was twofold. It was from my own personal gurus, and then it was from the book The Secret, but that was just a drop in the ocean.
What was your first personal breakthrough that told you you were on the right path to growing and growing into who you wanted to become?
Oh, wow, great question. So I actually suffered so much with bullying as a child. My parents were immigrants into the UK. My mum came from a tiny island called Mauritius in the Indian Ocean. My father was an immigrant from Kenya in Africa, and I was born in the UK. And within my street, we was the only people of colour, and we would have our house regularly egged, and we would suffer some quite horrific verbal abuse and sometimes physical abuse. But unbeknown to me at that time, all of these abuse that I was suffering lay dormant in trauma, which never got raised because my parents were of that belief that that's just how it is. We just have to accept it. So I laid all of that trauma inside of me, and it later manifested in life into some serious addictions, with being in relationships that were not right for me simply for being in a relationship, and kind of filling that void. It led to some alcohol abuse because I never felt who I was authentically was good enough, and people loved this persona. After a few drinks, I was more jovial, I was more chatty, I was more funny. And so all of these dependent on either substances outside of myself or relationships that were not right for me, again, outside of myself, meant that I was getting further and further away from my authentic self, until I then realized that I never knew who I truly was. Every single relationship and interaction I would have with anyone would be fake. It will either be a cause of drinking, or it would be to please that person constantly. I was constantly a people pleaser because I just wanted to be accepted. And that's when it went through. I had to go through all of that trauma as a child to realize that I don't have an identity. And the breakthrough moment came for me was actually at university. And it was, I'll never forget it. All in my academic life, the internet had just come out, and the internet was another tool that allowed me to move away from my authentic self, because I could go on the internet and Google the answers. And there was one module, and I'll never forget it. It was entitled Methods of Inquiry. And it was impossible to go on the internet. It was impossible to try and seek answers from friends, because there was not right or wrong answer. Everything had to come from within. And I put that onto paper, and I got the highest marks out of my whole university. And that was my moment when then I said to myself, okay, I know who I am now, and I need to start believing in myself, because who I am is actually good enough.
You know, this is really powerful that you're saying all this. And there's a part of me that resonates with you because, you know, although I'm across the pond, there are some similarities, you know, and I can't help but wonder, you know, you being a man of color in the UK, and I'm sensing that there was this subtle pressure to go along with how things were. And for someone who over here in the US that, you know, I felt those same pressures, you know, I have to wonder, was it did your family feel like it was so important to not rock the boat, to just kind of, you know, we're this is just how it is, let's just go with the flow, that's what we're supposed to do here? Do you feel that that was the message that was echoed in your family?
Oh, you've hit the nail on the head, 110%. And I couldn't deal with that because I never saw myself different. The skin color never really affected who I was, because I was always going through my mind. In my mind, I identified as being English, just like everybody else. I talked the same, you know, I dressed the same. And so absolutely. And there's a word used in the UK, and it's a very derogatory racial slur, and it's even hard for me to say it now. It's a term called Paki, and Paki, and that word even now gives me goosebumps. And I would go to my father and say, I've been called this word, and it was kind of, you just accept how it is. That's how he felt, and I don't blame him. But looking back, all of that just got stored within, and it just created greater issues in my adult life. So all I can, you know, I've got two beautiful daughters myself, and I try and raise them up that they can tell me absolutely anything and everything, and there'll be no judgment whatsoever. And I'm pleased to say now it has got a lot better in the UK. We are we are a society now that values many different cultures, and there are stricter guidelines and rules of how you treat each other, and there are consequences for that. But at the time, I I felt that there was no support internally in my household, and externally that it was just a slur. And even when you look back at TV shows in that time, it was so popular to use those terms. Now I look back and I just absolutely shudder to think how that was acceptable. And I'm so glad that we've moved on as a race, as a society, to finally deem that that is not okay, to demonize and prejudice someone purely by the color of their skin. And 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 just saying that word, it's the first time I've actually said that word out loud, sorry, for probably
No, you're
decades.
no, I think
Mm.
it's powerful what you're saying because obviously here, there's such commonalities in society because, over here we have those versions of words that just sting and, I can certainly recall I feel like I walk similar footsteps with you that I don't sound how people would expect for me to sound and it had
Mm.
everything to do with my upbringing and my
Mm.
pronunciation and how I enunciate words and things and sometimes I would be on the phone with someone before they meet me, and it was like this shock of, trying to put the voice with what they saw in front. And that was okay. I think later on in life, it gave a chance, it became a teaching moment. But I'm fascinated with how, even though you are in the UK, there's such similarities of what society goes through. And, I find myself wondering, I want to ask, as you were growing, you began to grow your voice. Where did you find your confidence level going? Did you find that you were taking chances on, what, I'm just betting on myself.
Mm.
This is the path I'm supposed to be on. I'm just going to trust my instincts. What was your thought process when you had that aha moment for
Sure.
you where it really affected you?
Absolutely. So I volunteered as a carer. They call it in the UK. I'm sure it might be a similar word. So I would volunteer to help people, especially the elderly, that were sick. So we would do something called domiciliary care, where we would go actually into their house and help them. And I would always engage and have conversations with them. And during this time, once they felt comfortable with myself, I always kind of said, "What is your greatest um, memories in your lives?" And conversely, what is the greatest your regrets? And there was a commonality in the theme regarding their regrets. And the two things that I'd never forget that always stick into my mind is I wish I had more belief in myself, even if I it failed or it didn't turn out the way I wanted. And number two, I wish I didn't care about what other people thought of me. And I looked them in the eye and I could see the pain that they were going through. And I vowed to myself that I need to preach this message that I believe I am here for. And if a billion people hear it or one person hears it, I will not die having that regret. I will not die with that music still left inside of me. As long as I can stay true to myself, when the time comes for me to pass, I will leave extremely content. So I now try and live my life to, no matter what life throws at me, as long as I can be as authentic as I can to myself and to my family, and to teach my daughters that, and to practice what I preach. I believe when we pass on, I will not have any regrets. So I am so grateful for engaging with those senior citizens and the wisdom that they gave to me. And I always say to people, and we'll talk about this a bit later about gratitude, but if you ever think that you're stuck or you don't have enough, go spend a month in a hospice and have those conversations, and you will walk out there completely unmasked, and you have not only a greater appreciation for life, but a greater zest for life as well. So we live our lives, sometimes we tiptoe through life just to make it safely to death. But when you jump in and you engage with those people that will give you anything and everything just to have your life, that's when things can dramatically change, because you are going from a privileged mindset away from a burdened mindset.
And that's huge. That's a huge analogy that you're painting, a huge picture. We've got so much more to cover. First, we're going to take a commercial break. Stay right there. We are coming back.
So in the calm bag, it has GABA, theanine, and taurine. So theanine, which is B1, which is also in our B complex, but it also helps with the stress response levels. It also helps with the neurological transmitters in our brain. Combined with the GABA, and then you add taurine to it. Taurine is a non-essential amino acid in our body, but it's found in our heart, our brain, and our eyes. So in my personal opinion, it's very essential in our lives. But taurine has a calming effect as well. When I was battling all my AFib issues, I was taking high doses of taurine because that would help with my AFib. It would help with the palpitations I was having. And it also helped with the anxiety of having the palpitations because I knew what was going on, and so taurine helps a lot with that as well. So those three together create such a wonderful concoction that really calms people down.
Introducing Launchpad, the perfect partner to help you launch your dream project to the world. We know that time is of the essence, and we're here to help you make the most of it. With Launchpad, you'll get access to the most advanced digital tools and strategies to take your idea from a mere concept to a fully fledged success. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned pro, we have everything you need to make your mark in the world. Launchpad, your ultimate launch partner.
Welcome back, everybody. We are talking with our guest today, Drive Patel. He is a powerful voice. He's a manifestation coach from the UK. Today, it is all about getting unstuck, reclaiming our lives, manifestation without the hype. And before the break, we had a chance to get to know his personal breakthrough that allowed him to pave the way to become that voice in the manifestation world. And Drive, one of the things that I'm very fascinated with how you came to be in this, use your voice in the way that you are right now. I'm curious, as you became a manifestation coach, what are some of the myths and the ideas that people have about manifestation, and what are some things that are true and false about that, about this concept?
Fantastic question. So one of the myths is that you simply think of something and it will automatically arrive to you. So people are misusing the law of attraction. The biggest myth is if they just sit there, they meditate on winning the lottery or their perfect partner for a few minutes a day, all of that is going to happen. Whereas that is just one drop in the ocean that needs to that needs to align with so many different steps and so many different procedures. So, for example, what I teach with the manifestation again is by cleansing ourselves first and then adding the techniques. But what a lot of the myths, and especially a lot of the charlatans and people that are just interested to get clicks and likes and followers, what all they talk about is what to add, constantly adding, and they don't allow people to first become accountable and look within. So it is a great question, and my whole premise is to move away from that and move into the accountability. And the number one way that you can move away from just expecting everything to come to you that people don't do is action. They get mistaken on having everything coming to them without taking action.
So I'm curious. You start with clean. You talk about clearing the vessel. Can you explain the components behind that? What does that mean? I'm imagining that you're just, there is this banishment of the things of bad stuff. But can you elaborate a little bit more about what cleaning the vessel is?
Absolutely. So it's like the universe or the creator or God, however you want to picture it, they or it wants you to have everything. Our lives are meant to be abundant, but it is us that creates the blockages and that stop all of this light from coming to us. And my job as a coach is to remove this, and it differs from person to person, but the most common ones that people struggle with is reactive behavior. So I call it the devil's cocktail. And the devil's cocktail is the three C's. The most common are the three C's, which are comparing, complaining, and criticizing. So if I was just to go into each one. So every time we react, essentially, it is a form of instant gratification. But every time we do that, we delay our manifestation. So let's pick a real world scenario. If we get stuck on a traffic jam and it's 30 degrees, I think you maybe 100 Fahrenheit, I'm not sure of the metric is. Yeah. So what majority of people do would they'll be cursing and they'll be annoyed and they'll act on all of these low frequency vibrations. They'll be reacting in a way of complaining, one of the ingredients of the devil's cocktail. And each time we do that, we step away from what we essentially want, and we are signaling to the universe that we want more of the same. This is called karmic energy that I mentioned earlier. So what you are sending out to the world, you are receiving. So one way to do that, to mitigate that in the traffic jam scenario, is to do a breathing technique called the box technique. And it's simply inhaling for 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4, and then holding for 4. We can repeat that cycle a few times. What that will do is that will engage the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the calm nervous system, as opposed to being in the autonomic nervous system, which is the stress nervous system, which raises our cortisol. So going back to the devil's cocktail, and we're in the traffic jam, we'll do that breathing technique. And if it's safe to do so, why not listen to something like an encouraging or inspiring podcast, something that you might not be able to do at home due to your busy schedule. So it's about looking at, okay, I'm in this situation. it can go two ways. I can send out some negative vibes, or I could turn this around. I could slow my breathing down, and I could look at a podcast that is going to invigorate me, something that I might not be able to do, like I said, a bit later. So that simple mind shift is massive in terms of cleansing our soul, because we all react, and it's okay to react, but it's how long we react for. In a relationship scenario, if your spouse has annoyed you or done something, and then it creates a debate or creates an argument, okay, let's have that argument, let's have it out, that's totally fine. But how long is it going to keep going on? Are we going to have the cold shoulder for a few days? Are we going to keep biting at each other for a few hours? Or can we just take a bit of time out, do a bit of box breathing, and then come again? So once we go away from those lower frequencies, and then we automatically go into those higher frequencies, much like our mobile phones, when we go from the lower frequencies, it's like going on 3G, 1 bar. When we are going up the scale, we are sending such a powerful frequency and vibration to the universe that the universe has no option but to send us things in whatever form they may be that have an equal vibration back. So that is complaining.
I love how you're saying that, and quite frankly, I can try to breathe like that. The inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4, and then but I'll be honest, there are times I feel like white knuckling it behind the road, and then it's like, oh my goodness. And so, but I do feel like I love the intentionality of what you're saying, because it's almost like if we're reacting, there's a disconnect because we're not in the moment of what's truly what we can control, like we can help steer and not exacerbate things. And so then you talk about the complaining, and man, is that hard to do, to not complain, because
Sure.
frustration, sometimes it feels like we're venting, and that it might feel good to vent. Where is the line that you draw where it becomes too far?
Great question. So the fact that you can be aware of yourself complaining initially is a huge step. It takes some of my clients months just to become aware of their own complaining. They're quick to judge somebody else's complaining. That's a lot easier. Or it's quite easy to look at negativity in the media. But when it comes to your own complaining, the fact that you can become aware is a huge step. It's an absolutely huge step. And of course, there's things that are out of our control that we do complain about. But once we have that awareness, what you will find is that through the day, after a period of time, usually a month or two, you will notice yourself that through the day, those number of times that you complain reduce. And that is simply by becoming aware, because there is repercussions of you complaining. And once you understand the laws of cause and effect and the karmic energy of what you're sending out, you are less likely to keep on doing that habit. Much like a smoker, for example. If the time it took them to feel the effects of their nicotine, if that was a lot quicker, they'd be less likely to smoke. But because it tends to happen in later age, or it takes time for the lungs to become contaminated, they simply engage in that bad habit. So absolutely, it is difficult at the start. But if you do want to increase your vibration, and I'll say those two words time and time again, vibration and frequency, I'll be repeating that. The higher your vibration, the higher your frequency, you will then attract a partner, business opportunities, whatever it may be, of a similar frequency. And each time we complain, we knock that down a notch. So just becoming aware of that has an incredible effect on your manifestation. Hopefully, you become accountable. And over time, and we must remember that it is about persistence as well. That's another thing that people lack in their manifestation journey. They're not persistent enough because we live in such a fast-paced, get it now, want it now world, that we're not prepared to do the work over time. So
What about the final C of the devil's cocktail?
sure. So we have complaining. We I think we have comparing and criticizing. So the criticizing is another form of complaining, but each time we criticize, we essentially see a tiny fault that is within us, whether we like it or not. And I once had a client saying, I've watched all of these serial killers, Jeffrey Dahmer, for example. There's no way that there's a part of him in me. He's killed people. And then my answer to him was, have you ever criticized anybody, whether it be a family member, a friend, a stranger, a colleague? And he was accountable. He said, yes. So I turned around to him and I said, in a way, you've just killed a part of their character, a part of their reputation. So there is a speck, albeit a tiny one, of Jeffrey Dahmer in you. And then comparing, especially in this digital age, this is rife. We live in a world where people love to flaunt right now what they have. And I had two clients from a very different background. One has immense wealth and the other had better connectivity with their family, and both wanted what each other had. The wealthy person took his family on holiday around about 5 times a year. And the person that wasn't as wealthy in terms of money wanted flashier holidays. However, the gentleman that took his 2 kids on holiday, when they went to the beach, the whole time for 10 days, they had their earpods in, phones and tablets out, and there was no connection at all. Whereas the gentleman who took his family and they could only afford 1 holiday a year, but it was a camping holiday in the woods, had so much bond with their children that they absolutely loved it. So one wanted more holidays and the other wanted that connectiveness. So once we compare our lives, there's so many measures. I always love this famous quote, we take away the joy. So comparison is the thief of joy. So we mitigate that again through gratitude, which we'll talk about later. So essentially the devil's cocktail, the first thing that we can reduce: complaining, criticizing, and comparing. That is one of the quickest ways that we can start to cleanse our own vessel.
I love how you break down accountability, and a lot of times when we struggle with holding ourselves accountable, it seems as though ego gets in the way, and that when we get real and honest with ourselves, and to your point, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel fabulous. It feels downright ick. And so because how we handle things and how, maybe we tripped in a way and that we're embarrassed by what by how our actions are. Before we go to break, can you name one common inner blockage that you are finding when you work with clients that seems to be a common theme, that maybe it's something that we struggle with?
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes to, again, it links back to the devil's cocktail. And out of the 3 ingredients, it is the constant complaining. Complaining out of the devil's cocktail it's 3/4 of the glass. It is so rife, and it's one of the hardest things to change. But again, I always link this down to awareness. If we can just become aware of our own internal complaining, and it doesn't need to be verbal, even mental, that is a great start.
And we've got much more to cover. First, we're going to take a commercial break. We are coming right back. Stay put.
Welcome to Renew Laser and Skincare, where beauty meets technology. From laser hair removal and anti-aging treatments to facial sculpting, acne care, and injectables, our expert team helps you look and feel your best with customized, results-driven care. Located in Littleton, Colorado, we offer a comfortable, welcoming space and cutting-edge treatments tailored just for you. Visit renewlaserandskincare.com to book your transformation today. Renew Laser and Skincare, where confidence begins.
Hey everyone, it's Adriana, and welcome back to Fit Bites. Today, let's talk about the importance of posture correction. So good posture isn't just about looking confident. It's crucial for our overall health, especially as we age. Poor posture can lead to back pain, headaches, and even digestive issues. Now first, be mindful of how you're sitting and standing throughout the day. Keep your shoulders back, your chin up, and avoid slouching. When sitting, make sure that your feet are flat on the floor and that your back is supported. Incorporate exercises that strengthen your core and your back muscles. Planks, bridges, and rows are great for improving your posture. Stretching your chest and shoulders can also help counteract the effects of sitting for long periods of time. Using tools like ergonomic chairs and standing desks can make a big difference. Also, take regular breaks to move around and reset your posture. Remember, small adjustments can lead to big improvements in how you feel and move. Stand tall, stay strong, and stay tuned for more Fit Bites with Adriana. Welcome back, everybody. We are spending quality time with our guest today, Drive Patel. He's a manifestation coach, and we are diving into the nuggets of how to literally embrace manifestation without the hype, get unstuck, and truly embrace that next new level of strength for our lives. And Drive, before the break, you were diving into some of the components that you work with with your clients, and I want to talk real quickly about gratitude before we talk a little bit about your ebook. So can you touch on why is it important for us to embrace gratitude and the impact that it has on our lives?
Oh, fantastic. I mean, I could talk about gratitude all day, and it is the number one ingredient to add into your vessel. So essentially, we've done all the work, we've stopped the reactive behavior, we've eliminated the devil's cocktail, and now we need to start adding some things. And if there is just one thing that we have to add, gratitude. Because when we start to become grateful for everything we have in our lives, and we start to journal this as well, so important to start journaling, because when we journal, we find other things naturally that we are grateful for. And the caveat to this is that whatever we want to manifest, whether it be a new job, a new business, a partner, our health, once we enact the power of gratitude, we get a calming force within ourselves, and we start looking at the things that we already have from within, and we then become so whole that we don't actually feel the need to want all of those things that we want to manifest. It's a bit of a contradiction, but the Buddha put it so beautifully that enlightenment is the end of suffering. He didn't tell us what it was because we didn't want to have any preconceived ideas. He simply told us what it wasn't. And my quickest way to get there, to enlightenment, is by enacting gratitude.
You put a lot of your nuggets into your ebook, and I'd like to share that with our viewing audience here. Talk a little bit about 17 steps to become a master manifester.
Fantastic. So it goes into a lot more detail about, first of all, why we need to clean our vessel. It goes into more detail about the devil's cocktail, but there are also other habits that we must stop and we must change. We go into detail about the impact of people around you and how that toxic energy impacts your vessel. It is literally a step-by-step guide through how you can transform your life, no matter how stuck you feel or how troubled you are, no matter where you are in the world. Once we can have that accountability, we clean the vessel, and then we add more tools. So one of the biggest one we've touched on is gratitude, but we also talk about the importance of affirmations, the importance of what I call the forgotten emotion, laughter, surrounding yourself with people that raise you up instead of bringing you down. And through this guide, you will become, again, going back to that word, aware of what has prevented you on your manifestation journey so far. And this will allow you to then finally manifest whatever you desire. But more importantly than that, it will make you feel more whole. And for me, that is the greatest feeling that we could feel as a human species, is bliss. And once we feel whole, we feel bliss. And bliss is the highest emotion. It's the highest one on the frequency and vibrational field. And this guide will whip you through all of the fluff and get you there. So can you manifest? You will feel like you've already got everything that you could ever desire.
And I know that this is one way that you are working with those. Your ebook is available on Amazon. And real quickly, just want to share that on your website, there are different ways in which you connect with those who are looking to have that manifestations coach, someone who can help them clear these blockages. Talk a little bit about, we've got a couple minutes here, talk a little bit about how you help those who are interested in working with you, and what does that look like?
Absolutely. So I do a manifestation masterclass because I want to get my message out to not only to as many people as I can, but I also believe that through this masterclass, it will completely open your mind and shatter all of the previous belief systems that we have, that we deal with in life, because we are led to believe that being okay or just having a certain level in your life is what we are meant to be, or meant to, we settle for being average. But the masterclass shows that just through some simple tools, the sky isn't the limit, it is the base. And by going through the masterclass, you will also be amongst like-minded individuals that will see what everybody else, including myself, is manifesting. Because once we see that from others, our own limited beliefs get completely obliterated, and it creates new neural networks and pathways within our brain, and we are more likely then to take inspired action. But
And real quickly, we want to go ahead and put up the website so that viewers who are interested, and obviously this is not just for the UK, but it's anyone obviously connected with the Wi-Fi, that they're able to tap in, that they can, that they're able to find out more information and join your masterclass, and then really truly use these tools to get that level of success that they're looking for. We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. We are coming right back. Stay right there. Today has been all about manifestation without the hype. Our guest today, Drive Patel, he's a manifestation coach who's really unlocking those tried and true methods to break those inner blockages and truly reach for success, clearing the vessel and literally tapping into that manifestation so that we can live a much better quality life. Drive, where can our viewers reach you in the virtual space? Where can we find you?
So I'm on many platforms. So I'm on LinkedIn, so I would absolutely love to connect with the audience. I'm also on TikTok, and there's quite a few videos on me where I talk about different aspects of life in general, not just manifestation. And finally, I'm on Instagram. So I am building and connecting with so many like-minded individuals that want to grow. So yeah, I love connecting with as many of your audience as possible.
And what do you have going on for the remainder of 2025? What can we expect of you?
Yeah, so it's growing so fast. So I'm a keynote speaker in many universities in the UK that I've booked in. I'm also a keynote speaker in some wellness shows at the O2 in the UK, in the Liverpool Arena, and the Manchester Evening News Arena, as well as appearing on some great podcasts just like yours. And I have the intention to go more globally and doing some keynote speaking all around the world. So there's the things are moving so quickly for me, and I'm so grateful for the universe to give me this opportunity to share the message as I am today, being on your fantastic podcast.
And what is my final question to you? What is the one legacy that you want to leave in the world?
Fantastic question. And it goes back to my roots in terms of the trauma that I felt. So to anybody listening out there, if there's one takeaway, it would be have that belief in yourself and know this one truth, that you was not born to merely survive, you was here to thrive. And whether that be starting a business or whether that be sharing your own personal story, just have that faith and don't live your life at the end with those regrets. And the biggest one would definitely be just jumping in, get out of that comfort zone, because that comfort zone will become your cage and you will thank yourself in life for sure.
Drive Patel, Manifestation Coach from the UK. It has been a pleasure talking with you and bridging the gap from here in the US across the pond. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you for having me.
spending time with us. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that.
Uh,
And for all of our viewers, of course, we want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. We appreciate their support of our show: Biomed Mobile IV, Dapper, No Code, Launchpad, Renew Laser and Skincare, and Synergize Fitness. And we are also on the web. You can find us on thehealthrevolutiontv.com. There you can subscribe to our newsletter. You can also email us with any show episode ideas you'd love for us to cover. Upper corner of your screen is our QR code, if that's easier for you to grab. And as always, you can count for us to be available to you on the Arion TV channel on E360 TV every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is all the time that we have today. Until next time, take care of yourselves. We will see you soon.